As dawn broke over Eden, golden rays spilled across the lush garden, painting every leaf, flower, and stream with a brilliance untouched by sorrow. The air was filled with the gentle hum of life birds in symphonic harmony, rivers whispering secrets to the stones, and the fragrance of blossoms so sweet it seemed to carry the very essence of creation. Adam and Eve moved through this paradise unaware of the looming shadow, their hearts light with innocence, laughter echoing in a world untouched by fear. Every tree offered abundance, every path promised discovery, and every moment shimmered with a divine serenity that few could imagine. In this fleeting perfection, the universe itself seemed to hold its breath, celebrating the harmony of existence. Yet beneath this radiant tranquility, subtle currents of unease stirred, hinting that even paradise harbors secrets waiting to unravel. Beneath Eden's radiant dawn, a subtle unease began to stir, as if the very air had grown restless. The wind carried faint murmurs through the trees, whispers that seemed almost alive, teasing at a reality Adam and Eve could not yet perceive. Shadows stretched longer than they should, and the once perfect harmony of birdsong now carried a trembling note. Even the vibrant flowers seemed to quiver, as if sensing the invisible shift in the world around them. In the hearts of Adam and Eve, a strange disquiet emerged, a pull of curiosity mingled with doubt, fragile yet insistent. They could not name it, could not yet understand it, but it hinted at something beyond the perfect garden, something waiting to disturb their innocence. This first unease, gentle yet insidious, marked the silent beginning of a chain that would challenge everything they knew, foreshadowing a day no one in Eden could have imagined. As the sun climbed higher, Eden's brilliance began to mingle with subtle shadows, weaving secrets into corners once thought untouched. These shadows were not merely the absence of light. They seemed to breathe with hidden intent, curling around the trees, slipping silently over the streams, carrying whispers of truths long forbidden. Adam and Eve, though radiant in their innocence, could sense the shift, a gnawing unease in the marrow of their hearts. Every rustle of leaves and sway of branches hinted at mysteries beyond their understanding, as if the garden itself was keeping a quiet, watchful secret. An ominous sign lingered in the stillness, a warning almost imperceptible yet undeniable. Paradise harbored depths that even divine perfection had not fully revealed. Fear mingled with curiosity, and the beauty of Eden began to tremble under the weight of concealed knowledge, foreshadowing events that would forever change the course of existence. In the heart of Eden, a moment arrived that would forever fracture innocence, the final temptation. It came not as a roar, but as a subtle, seductive whisper threading through the garden, winding around Adam and Eve's hearts with an allure they could scarcely resist. Curiosity, once a gentle companion of discovery, now turned sharp and insistent, whispering promises of knowledge, power, and understanding beyond what they had ever known. Every instinct warned them of danger, yet the pull was irresistible, a quiet unraveling of the trust and harmony they had always known. In that fleeting heartbeat, paradise held its breath, teetering between obedience and desire, light and shadow. One choice, a single act, would ripple outward, shattering the perfection of the garden and marking the first step into a world of mortality, sorrow, and regret. Innocence hung by a fragile thread, poised on the edge of eternal consequence. The moment they reached for the forbidden fruit, a veil lifted, revealing knowledge that had been carefully hidden from them. It was not merely understanding, but a profound awareness of life's fragility, of choices and consequences, of a world beyond Eden's embrace. For the first time, Adam and Eve saw themselves not as eternal beings in perfect harmony, but as vulnerable, fallible creatures bound by mortality. Their hearts raced with wonder, yet dread seeped in, cold and undeniable, as the weight of what they now knew pressed upon their souls. The innocence of their laughter dissolved into a silent tension, replaced by the piercing clarity of truth that came too soon, too sharply. In that instant, paradise itself seemed to shiver, as if mourning the loss of unspoiled joy. Forbidden's knowledge had arrived, uninvited yet unavoidable, setting them on a path from which there would be no return. The instant Adam and Eve's hands touched the forbidden's fruit, the air seemed to shiver with an unseen weight. A subtle tremor coursed through Eden, a silent echo of disobedience reverberating across the garden. Every rustle of leaves, every ripple of the streams, carried an almost imperceptible warning. Actions have consequences, and paradise was no longer untouched by choice. In their hearts, a chill replaced the warmth of innocence, and unease settled like a shadow over their thoughts. Fear mingled with regret as they glimpsed the magnitude of what they had done, a reality far heavier than curiosity or desire. Even the once brilliant sunlight seemed dimmer, hinting at the trials that lay ahead. The garden itself seemed to hold its breath, aware that the harmony it had nurtured was breaking. The consequences were not distant, they loomed, inevitable and relentless, foreshadowing a world that would forever bear the weight of this first act of defiance as the fruit's forbidden's knowledge settled within them. Adam and Eve's eyes were opened not only to truth, but to the fragility of life itself. For the first time they glimpsed a world beyond Eden, one where time eroded beauty, where suffering existed alongside joy, and where every heartbeat carried the weight of impermanence. The eternal security of the garden was gone. Mortality had arrived, subtle yet undeniable, touching their souls with a quiet terror. Every tree, once a symbol of abundance, now seemed to whisper of fleeting life. Even the songs of birds carried a melancholy tone, as if mourning the innocence lost. Their hearts thudded with a mix of awe and fear, realizing that love, joy, and even existence itself were no longer guaranteed. In this glimpse beyond paradise, they felt the heavy truth. Life was now a fragile, fleeting gift, and every choice would shape its uncertain path. For the first time, Adam and Eve felt the sting of sorrow. The innocence that had once colored their hearts with light now cracked under the weight of fear and regret. Tears fell unbidden, tracing paths of remorse along their faces, as the reality of their actions settled like a heavy stone in their chests. Each heartbeat carried the echo of disobedience, a reminder that paradise was no longer untouched. The laughter that had once filled Eden was replaced by silence, pierced only by trembling whispers of, "What have we done?" Their minds raced with questions and guilt, longing to undo a choice that could not be reversed. Even the vibrant garden seemed to mourn with them, the colors dimming, the gentle breeze carrying a solemn lament. In that moment, Adam and Eve confronted the raw weight of mortality, understanding that the perfect world they had known had shifted forever in the aftermath of their choice. A fragile tension settled between Adam and Eve, heavier than any shadow that had touched Eden before. Words were unnecessary. The unspoken accusation lingered in their eyes, in the tremor of their hands, in the faltering rhythm of their breaths. Trust, once unshakable and radiant, now wavered like a candle flame in the wind. Each glance carried a silent questioning. Was it your curiosity? Your desire? And the weight of blame, though unvoiced, pressed upon their hearts. The garden, once a sanctuary of unity, seemed to reflect their inner fracture, the harmony of life itself now discordant. Fear and regret intertwined, creating a chasm between them that mere apologies could not bridge. In that moment, Adam and Eve realized that the consequences of their choice extended beyond themselves, touching the bonds of love and loyalty. Even paradise could not shield them from the first sting of betrayal. After the silent accusation, Adam and Eve felt the fragile threads of their love stretched to the breaking point. Doubt crept insidiously into their hearts, whispering questions that chilled their souls. Was their bond strong enough to endure the consequences of disobedience? Could love survive the shadow of regret and fear now etched into every glance? Despair settled like a heavy fog, obscuring the warmth and certainty that had once defined their union. Every shared smile now carried hesitation, every touch a trembling uncertainty. The garden's serenity, once a mirror of their harmony, now reflected inner turmoil, highlighting the fragility of trust and connection. In the silence between them, the weight of mortality and the inevitability of separation loomed large, testing the resilience of hearts that had known only innocence. Love, once effortless and radiant, now demanded courage and forgiveness, challenging them to rise above fear or be consumed by it. Just as Adam and Eve struggled to mend their fractured trust, the serpent returned, slinking through Eden with a cunning patience that sent shivers down their spines. Its presence was subtle, yet unmistakable, a shadow that whispered promises and doubts with a honeyed voice, weaving deception into their already vulnerable hearts. Every word, every suggestion twisted truth into temptation, testing their resolve and exploiting the fissures of fear and regret. The garden itself seemed to shiver under its influence, shadows stretching longer, the air thickening with silent menace. Adam and Eve felt the pull, a tug at the remnants of innocence and unity, threatening to unravel the fragile trust that had barely survived. In this quiet confrontation, they realized that disobedience had not ended the danger. It had only invited it in new forms, hidden and insidious. Every choice now carried the weight of manipulation, a reminder that paradise could be corrupted from within. In the silent aftermath of temptation and deceit, Adam and Eve confronted a truth that pierced deeper than any shadow. Death, long foreign to their existence, now loomed before them. The once invisible line between life and mortality had been crossed, and the weight of inevitability pressed upon their hearts. Fear surged like a tidal wave, drowning the remnants of innocence and laughter. Every breath felt heavy, every heartbeat a reminder that paradise could no longer shield them from finality. They looked upon one another with despair, understanding that their choices had unleashed a reality they could not escape. The garden's vibrant life seemed muted, as if creation itself mourned the end of untouched harmony. In that shattering moment, the fragility of existence became painfully real. Adam and Eve realized that death was no longer distant or abstract. It was near, inevitable, and inescapable, casting a shadow over the once perfect light of Eden as the consequences of disobedience sank deeper into their souls. A settled darkness began to creep across Eden, once a sanctuary of unbroken light. Shadows stretched unnaturally across the vibrant garden, curling around the trees, the streams, and the flowers, whispering of change and loss. The brilliance of the sun, once warm and reassuring, now seemed muted, as though the light itself recoiled from what had transpired. Adam and Eve felt the chill of fear settling into their bones, the serenity of their surroundings replaced by a growing tension. Every gentle breeze carried an uneasy whisper, every rustle of leaves a reminder that paradise was no longer untouched by mortality and regret. The harmony of life quivered under the weight of hidden threats, and the once unshakable peace of Eden faltered. Darkness was no longer absent, it was patient, creeping into every corner, waiting for the perfect moment to expose the fragility of all they had known. Amid the growing shadows, Eden seemed to breathe with a presence both unseen and deeply unsettling. Whispers echoed through the trees, soft yet piercing, carrying the anguish of consequences that Adam and Eve could no longer ignore. These were not mere sounds of wind or rustling leaves. They were voices of the unseen, a chorus of sorrow and warning that resonated in every corner of the once perfect garden. Fear and guilt intertwined, each whisper amplifying the weight pressing upon their hearts. Every step they took felt haunted by invisible eyes, every glance a reminder of the fragile balance they had shattered. The garden itself seemed to mourn, reflecting their inner turmoil, echoing pain and regret that could not be spoken aloud. In this symphony of unseen voices, Adam and Eve felt the full weight of their disobedience. Realizing that Eden's beauty could no longer shield them from the echoes of anguish now entwined with every breath they drew, Eden, once radiant and eternal, began to lose its brilliance, as if the garden itself mourned the innocence it had nurtured. Colors dulled, streams slowed, and the harmony of life faltered, revealing the fragility beneath the perfection that had once seemed absolute. Every tree, every petal, and every whisper of wind now carried a subtle weight, a reminder that life was no longer guaranteed. Adam and Eve felt the shift acutely, their hearts heavy with the knowledge that paradise was slipping through their grasp. The security they had known melted into uncertainty, each step a fragile negotiation with a world now touched by mortality and consequence. Even the laughter of creatures, once a carefree song, now trembled with tension, mirroring the vulnerability of existence. In this fading Eden, the truth became undeniable. Life was delicate, fleeting, and irrevocably changed, and paradise could no longer shield them from the stark reality of their choices. As Eden's light dimmed and shadows deepened, Adam and Eve faced a moment heavier than any they had known, the first goodbye. It was a farewell not to one another, but to the world they had cherished, to the innocence that had once defined them, to the safety of paradise now slipping beyond reach. Fear gripped their hearts, cold and unrelenting, as the unknown stretched endlessly before them, a chasm without promise or certainty. Every familiar path, every vibrant tree, now seemed a reminder of all that was lost, a paradise fading into memory. Trembling, they reached for comfort in one another, yet even that connection carried the weight of mortality and consequence. Tears fell freely, mixing sorrow with the sharp sting of anticipation for the challenges ahead. In that fragile, heart-wrenching farewell, they understood fully that life beyond Eden would be uncertain, harsh, and irrevocably transformed. After the unraveling of paradise, Adam and Eve found themselves walking a path heavy with dread, each step drawing them closer to an encounter that would define their fate. The air seemed to thicken, charged with an unseen authority, as if the very garden itself awaited their reckoning. Their hearts pounded with a mixture of fear and anticipation, knowing that disobedience had consequences that could no longer be delayed or ignored. Every footfall echoed in the silent tension, reminding them that judgment was not distant, it was imminent. Shadows stretched around them, reflecting the weight of their choices, while the knowledge of mortality and loss pressed upon their souls. In this moment, the world beyond innocence seemed both immense and unforgiving. The ultimate reckoning was near, and Adam and Eve were forced to confront the enormity of their actions, understanding that every thought, word, and decision would now be weighed against a standard far greater than themselves. Standing before the presence of divine authority, Adam and Eve felt the crushing weight of their choices collide with a power beyond comprehension. Fear gripped them, yet it was intertwined with a desperate need for answers, for understanding of the suffering and loss they had unleashed. Their hearts raced as they struggled to voice questions that had no immediate response. Why had temptation come so subtly? Why had paradise become fragile? Why had innocence ended so abruptly? The silence that followed was deafening, a solemn reflection of the gravity of disobedience and the enormity of divine justice. Anguish and guilt surged like unrelenting waves, filling every corner of their beings. In this encounter, they realized that some truths could not be hurried. That authority demanded reflection and recognition beyond explanation. The unanswered questions deepened their sorrow, forcing them to face the harsh reality that some lessons can only be understood through the weight of consequence. Before the overwhelming presence of divine judgment, Adam and Eve fell to their knees, hearts pounding with terror and desperation. Their voices, trembling and raw, poured forth pleas for mercy, each word steeped in regret and longing. Tears streamed freely, carrying the weight of sorrow that could not be undone, and their bodies shook under the gravity of realization. Paradise was lost, and the consequences of their choice were absolute. They begged not only for forgiveness, but for understanding, for a chance to restore what had been irrevocably broken. Each plea was a fragile thread cast into the vastness of authority, seeking a response that could offer hope amidst despair. In their appeals, love and remorse intertwined, creating a resonance that echoed through the garden. The moment was charged with tension, a delicate balance between despair and the faintest glimmer of grace. A heartbeat away from the harsh reality of eternal consequence. In the silence that followed their desperate pleas, Adam and Eve felt the weight of eternity pressing upon them. The final verdict arrived not with anger, but with an unyielding clarity that left no room for argument. Paradise, once radiant and eternal, would be lost. Life would carry the burden of mortality, pain, and toil. Their hearts quaked under the enormity of this judgment, each pulse echoing the permanence of consequence. There was no escape, no reversal, only the reality of choices made and the paths they had forged. In that solemn moment, destiny was sealed, and the innocence of existence shattered. Fear, sorrow, and grief intertwined, wrapping them in the cold embrace of inevitability. Yet beneath the weight of despair, a faint glimmer of hope remained, understanding, even in judgment, that life beyond Eden, though harsh and uncertain, could still hold meaning, growth, and the chance to navigate a world forever changed. In the final moments of their lives, Adam and Eve felt the fragile rhythm of existence slip through their grasp. Each heartbeat seemed louder, sharper, counting down like a metronome, marking the end of innocence and the fading of paradise. Their breaths came shallow and uneven, the vibrant energy of life diminishing with every passing second. Time itself felt suspended, each instant stretching into eternity as they clung to one another with trembling hands, desperate for comfort in the face of inevitable loss. The garden around them, once alive with song and light, now seemed hushed, as if nature itself mourned the departure of its first inhabitants. Fear, sorrow, and profound resignation mingled in their hearts, a painful recognition of mortality finally realized. In this sacred, fleeting hour, they grasped the preciousness of life, understanding that every heartbeat, every breath, had been a divine gift now quietly fading into eternity. As the final moments of life approached, Adam and Eve clung to each other, their bodies trembling with the weight of sorrow and the intimacy of shared loss. Tears streamed silently, tracing paths of grief down their faces, each drop a testament to love and the unbearable awareness of choices made. Their whispered words, fragmented and fragile, carried confessions, regrets, and lingering affection, a tapestry of human emotion woven in the shadow of mortality. Every glance reflected the sorrow of a paradise lost, the fragility of life, and the enduring bond that had persisted even through disobedience. The garden, once vibrant and alive, seemed to pause in solemn witness, holding its breath as the first humans faced the consequences of their actions. In this delicate interplay of lament and tenderness, love and regret became inseparable, etching into their hearts the profound truth that even in endings, connection and an emotion remain eternal. As life's final moments unfolded, Adam and Eve stared into each other's eyes and glimpsed eternity within the depths of their own souls. In those reflections, a lifetime of innocence, love, and sorrow intertwined, revealing the full spectrum of human experience. Each gaze carried the weight of choices made, the joy of shared discovery, and the pain of irreversible loss. Time seemed suspended, and the world beyond Eden faded into insignificance as they confronted the infinite unknown together. The eyes of the first humans became mirrors of both mortality and the enduring spark of life that had coursed through them. Even as their breaths weakened and shadows of finality encroached, a quiet understanding emerged. Existence, though finite, leaves an indelible mark. In their shared reflection, they saw not just an ending, but the profound resonance of love, memory, and consequence stretching beyond the limits of time itself, with Adam and Eve's final breaths fading. A profound silence enveloped Eden, heavier than any before. The vibrant chorus of life, the songs of birds, the rustle of leaves, the babble of streams ceased, as if the garden itself grieved the loss of its first inhabitants. Colors seemed muted, light softened, and even the wind carried a solemn stillness, reflecting the sorrow that now hung over every tree and flower. Nature, once a mirror of joy and harmony, stood witness to mortality's arrival, mourning the innocence and unity that had been severed. In that sacred hush, every corner of Eden seemed to hold its breath, acknowledging the passage of life and the permanence of consequence. The loss was palpable, echoing in every silent stone, every still petal. Paradise, radiant no longer, bore the quiet weight of grief, teaching that even creation itself feels the sorrow of endings. As Adam and Eve departed from Eden, the world they had once known shimmered in memory, a place of beauty, innocence, and unbroken harmony. Yet even in their absence, shadows of their presence lingered, etched into every tree, every stream, every stone, silent witnesses to the choices that had forever altered creation. Life beyond paradise would carry the imprint of their legacy, the knowledge of good and evil, the burden of mortality, and the delicate balance between freedom and consequence. The garden, though untouched by human hands, seemed to bear the memory of their footsteps, a reminder that even perfect worlds are shaped by those who inhabit them. Adam and Eve's departure left a quiet emptiness, yet also a foundation for what was to come, a world capable of growth, learning, and redemption, forever shadowed by the echoes of its first humans and the lessons their existence imparted. Even after Eden faded from sight, Adam and Eve felt the lingering presence of the serpent, whose cunning had quietly shaped the course of their lives. Hidden truths, once obscured, now emerged in their minds with startling clarity. The subtleties of deception, the temptations of curiosity, and the fragile nature of trust that could so easily be broken. Each revelation carried a sting, illuminating how subtly they had been guided toward choices they barely understood. The serpent's manipulations, once invisible, now appeared as a careful orchestration, leaving them both horrified and awed at the intricacy of influence. With these unveiled secrets, Adam and Eve grasped the full depth of consequence, recognizing that knowledge alone could both empower and destroy. The lessons of paradise, the dangers of desire, and the complexity of free will all became painfully clear, leaving them forever changed, wiser, yet burdened, aware that some truths arrive only after innocence is lost. The death of Adam and Eve echoed far beyond the borders of Eden, casting ripples of understanding across all future humanity. In their final moments, the fragility of life, the weight of choices, and the inevitability of consequence were laid bare. Their story became a mirror reflecting the eternal truths of existence. Love and loyalty can be tested, innocence can be lost, and every action carries repercussions that extend beyond the individual. Humanity inherited both the gift and burden of knowledge, the ability to choose, to feel, and to grow through suffering. Their departure revealed the delicate balance between freedom and responsibility, illustrating that wisdom is often forged in the fires of experience and regret. In witnessing their end, future generations are reminded that life is sacred, fleeting, and intertwined with moral consequence, and that the echoes of our decisions, like those of Eden's first humans, shape the world we leave behind. Just when the echoes of loss, regret, and mortality seemed to settle over humanity's first story, a twist emerged that no one could have anticipated. Beyond the sorrow of Eden's fall, A hidden thread of hope glimmered, subtle yet undeniable, promising that endings are never absolute. In the quiet aftermath, the potential for redemption, learning, and renewal quietly took root, suggesting that even in the shadow of disobedience and death, life's story continues in ways unseen. Adam and Eve's journey, though marked by failure, became the foundation for resilience and growth, teaching that consequences, however severe, are part of a larger tapestry of existence. This revelation, like a whisper carried on the wind, hinted that what seemed final may be transformed, that despair may give way to insight, and that the human spirit, tested, challenged, and broken, retains the extraordinary capacity to endure, adapt, and rise. The tale of Adam and Eve is more than history. It is a mirror reflecting the fragility of life, the weight of choice, and the power of love, regret, and redemption. From Eden's radiant dawn to the shadows of mortality, their journey reminds. You said every action carries consequence. Every moment is precious, and hope can emerge even in despair. If this story moved you, challenged your heart, or left you in awe of life's mysteries, help us continue sharing these powerful tales. Like, subscribe, and share. Your support is the only way we can keep bringing stories that touch the soul to life.